You're okay if I'm super casual in my workout clothes? You
I'm
good
not
if I'm in
okay
my
if
workout
you
clothes?
start. I'm not okay with you talking in the middle of my clap, but yes, I'm okay with you in your workout clothes, bro. All right, guys, I'll let you start over. Welcome to the Friday Mastermind. We've got my buddy Rene Rodriguez as the wingman for Todd and I. We couldn't do today's call without Rene. Todd Bookspan is here as my wingman and co-host of the Mortgage Coach Friday Mastermind. What's up, Todd?
Hey, not a whole lot. It's always great to be here on a Friday, have so many of you listening in and watching, but more importantly, it's really great to be here with some longtime friends who I'm excited to hear what they have to say today.
I am too. I can tell already this is going to be a fun show, and it's going to go all over the place. So guys, we have two special guests today, Don and Gino. Some of you guys might know them as the Don and Gino Show because they are, they've been doing radio shows for, guys, how long has it been that you've been doing shows?
12 years now, I think. 10 years of radio, 4 years. Actually, just revisited our blog post and then TV for the last 6 months now. So we've kind of been elevating and changing as per the heading, always staying relevant.
Yeah, exactly. Well, these guys are industry rock stars, good personal friends of mine that I've had, countless meals with, lots of good times. As you know, Don, when I was prepping for this, I don't know if you remember, well, I know you remember, but remember when we did that Roberto training?
Of course.
On the rooftop at Laguna Beach. And it's one of my all-time favorite photos. I'll post a photo somewhere of this photo because it was a great training experience. And it was cool. You were at that. You were one of I think 12 or 14 leaders at that event. I don't know, 15 years ago, 10 years ago?
15 probably, I'm guessing. That was a game changer for me. And being part of that group, of course, it was a game changer. I was fortunate to be invited to that by Ron Quintero and you, and joining that group. That was an amazing group. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. So because I haven't interviewed you for so many years, there was a time where Don was like one of the Jeremy Forciers. I interviewed you all the time. You were a regular. At that time, you were a producer, you were a team leader, and you'd done over 1,000 total cost analysis. Now in your career, you're leading other people, you're running a region. But why don't you and Gino tell a little bit about yourself real quick, and then we'll get into topics and conversations.
I'll start off, Gino, just real quick, just because Dave and I go so far back, and Todd, of course. But yeah, I mean, I've been part of the mortgage coach community for decades and decades. A firm believer. It changed my career. Dave, you've changed my career. You're a good friend, as you mentioned, but also a mentor, and you helped my career and AKA Gino's career thanks to Mortgage Coach. But yeah, I used to be the man in the streets. I was the guy that showed up and you guys would give the sizzle about Mortgage Coach and Edge and all that. And then basically, I'd come and go, well, here's how I really use it, guys. I'm the man in the streets and this is what I do every day. And literally, as a leader, we force every single person to use Mortgage Coach, and it's changed our careers, allowed myself to go from a top producer to producing branch manager, and then brought Gino on my team, 12 years ago, Gino, something like that?
Maybe a little bit longer now, close to 15, yeah.
Yeah. And then
we get stuck with that thing. You're like, oh, it's been 10 years. No, it hasn't. Years keep going by.
So we started, actually, Gino and I, a fun story. We basically kind of broke away from the company we were working with to basically have autonomy to do what we felt would be right for our business and for the people working for us. So we broke away some 10 plus years ago, 11 years ago, and basically started our own, I guess, branch or region with 5 of us in an office about the size I'm in now, and decided to do it our way, which was hire the right people, the right professionals, only put the right people on the bus. They're all take ownership of their roles, and slowly build what we feel is one of the best regions now of 125 people out in SoCal. So it's been a good story so far. And now we're reinventing ourselves over and over again.
Well, you've helped hundreds of loan officers become black belts at Mortgage Coach. Super grateful for who you are in the Mortgage Coach mission. Before we have Gino give a little backstory on himself, I think it's important for people to know that you're also a former pro motocross racer for Honda. Because how many former pro motocross racers do we have in the mortgage space? Do we have very many?
Not that I know of. We're a tight knit fraternity. I just went riding yesterday. It's something that's in your blood, and yeah, that's what I did. I was a professional motocross and supercross rider for back in the day, and then injury took me out, and here I am, just like a lot of you that are on this call. Didn't expect to be in the mortgage business, but I've been in it now since 1987. So when I raced motocross a long time ago, Ricky Johnson, Johnny O'Mara, and Bob Hanna days, a long time ago. But it did give, Gino was he'll mention that he was a racer also, and it gives us that drive, that edge, that way to push that extra limit. And I think, professional sports or athletics helps us, push that extra edge, and we haven't lost it to this day.
Yeah, I love
Don,
that. So
one of the things about racing, just focus on that for a minute. It is about constantly making adjustments. You have to make small adjustments. You make mistakes, make an adjustment, make a mistake, make an adjustment. And business is really no different. We have to, every time we make a mistake, we have to make an adjustment. And you want to go a little faster, you want to go a little harder, sometimes you're going to make a mistake. And you got to pull back, fix it, fine tune it, and then push again. So I think that's very relative to the way we run our business.
Yeah, no, you are so right, my friend. So give the audience a little bit of a backstory on you, and then we'll start drilling you with questions. And remember, audience, if you're watching this on Facebook or Zoom and you have a question or a comment, put it down below, but we'll bring it into the conversation.
Yeah, so basically grew up in construction, family business, started working really long days when I was about 13 years old. And so that's where I get my work ethic from. I get it from my dad, my grandpa, many, many years of just, go to work before school, go to high school, and go to work after. So that was my life for many years. So I had work ethic, but one of the things that I'd never really had was discipline. And I struggled with that for a really long time. And maybe even in the mortgage business, once I transitioned to the mortgage business out of construction, I just couldn't quite reach the goals that I kept writing down. And I was stumbling, and Don was helping me through this. And you guys have as well, when we do all of our goal setting and we watch other people be incredibly successful. So how do I do that? What's the missing piece so that I can execute on this? And for me, I found it through, ironically, we found it through working out at the gym is where I found it, but it's discipline. So it was when hard work intersected with discipline that I was able to achieve my goals. Hard work on its own didn't work for me. I needed to have discipline, and discipline difference is doing the things you know you should do instead of just working. And so for me, that was the secret sauce, and everything skyrocketed from there. And having a partner really makes things a lot easier too, because when you have a bad day, you have somebody to vent to and somebody to pick you up and somebody to cover for you when you're just not in the right space.
Yeah, come on. Todd and Dave, you guys do that with each other, I'm sure.
Absolutely. So for a format on this, Todd, be ready. I'm going to ask the first couple questions. You be ready with some questions, any coaching notes. And then Renee Rodriguez, you are the guru of framing and tie downs. And, if you could be ready to ask some questions and tie down anything that you think we need to put a tie down on. So guys, we saw each other a couple weeks at American Dream. We were at the studio and we were recording for an event you guys are going to be promoting heavily in the coming weeks and months. But the whole bill, what we decided to talk about was how to stay relevant, how to stay valuable. And as you know, we've known each other for 2 decades, so we've had to change. We've had to make changes. What do you think today's mortgage professional, loan officer, that's who's watching this show, what do they need to do to stay relevant and stay valuable in the years ahead?
I guess I'll start, Gino. I know you have some good input on this, but basically what we've found is, you hit the nail on the head, Dave, is relevancy, is that we're always adapting every single day. We do it through your teaching, Todd's teaching. We go to every single class we possibly can. We have mentors, we have coaches. You think after being successful for as many years as we have, 3 decades, that we have it figured out, but we don't. We continually adapt and change. And so right now, our goal has been be in front of everybody and be the leader and the thought leader and the one giving the information, true information, because unfortunately, the one thing that has changed in the 3 decades is media. Media is in our face all over the place. And unfortunately, a lot of it's negative because negative sells 10 times more than positive. So Gino and I are always out there sending out information and updates and true information about what's really happening. Because reports you see on TV, they'll take one report and twist it just to scare you. And then we'll go up and say, no, that report is full of it. This is really what that report meant. And the real estate industry is fine. Interest rates are fine. Here's what you need to know. I mean, we called the bottom of the market, 6 months before Buffett did. We also called the bounce of the market 6 months before everybody did, just because we watch trends and we stay in the know. And we do that by watching, Mortgage Coach, Rate Watch, MBS Highway, Todd Duncan's, anything we can grasp our hands on, we're in the know, and we're not surprised by what happens every day. So we just basically stay relevant and on top of our game every single day. And those of you on this call, I give you kudos for doing that, because that's what it's really all about. It makes it easy for us.
So I would say that's the training side. The other thing that we do is we stay visible, because you could train all you want, but if you don't stay visible, if nobody sees you, then you're just a secret agent. If nobody knows what you do, you just fall away into the sea of everybody else. So you have to stay visual. And that's why even when we did the radio show, people's like, why do you video the radio show and put it on YouTube? Because you want people to see you as much as possible. So in today's day and age where we're all working from home, or most of us are working from home, how do you stay visual? This is networking. So you have to do remote networking. I think that's something that we've done very well ever since we've been locked down. We've been very visible and in the space, and making sure that people know that we're still working and working hard.
I bet you Renee.
We'll talk about that. Well, I'd love to hear you give a little more on that, Gino. I mean, how are you guys doing remote networking for people who are struggling to connect with people?
Well, so the one thing that we did is we want to make sure, so Daniel Arias in Pasadena, one of our guys who's just a stud, did a really great job of putting together realtors and loan officers and having a weekly meeting, and then he moved it to a biweekly meeting because weekly was too much. But he had over 100 viewers on every one of these calls, and he was just bringing them up to speed. And so he would have speakers like Barry Habib come on. He had Bill Dallas come on. He had Bill Tesser come on. Other industry leaders to say, hey, what's going on? So people need information, and they need to get information from someone they trust. And you can only trust someone if you have a relationship and you see them frequently. If you see somebody once, you can't build trust. But if you see somebody and you get to know them and you like their personality and you feel like they're genuine, then you can build trust. And so I think that it had to do with frequency, making sure that all of our teammates and ourselves were exposing ourselves to the market that we want to, real estate agents, loan officers, media. We did get the Southland Association of Realtors, people starting to reach out to us to say, hey guys, what's going on? And how's the mortgage business going to survive? So people were desperate for information, and we were there to deliver that.
So Renee, why don't you
awesome.
jump in here? Anything you want to ask these guys, or anything you want to call out?
Yeah, I think I'm really just taking in. First, I love Don and Gino. You guys are awesome, and had a great time hanging out with you guys. Really
Life changer, Renee.
And I hear this question all the time. How do I stay relevant? And I want to put a color around this. What I look at when I see people like Don and Gino and Todd and people that are top performers, they're not looking for things that are silver bullets. What they're always looking for are things that they can do, the ordinary things. How can I do them even better than before? And they never stray from fundamentals. And so the what of the business hasn't changed. They're still having to serve customers. They have to be unique. They have to build trust. They have to be an expert. They got to be visible. Things that have not changed, but the how in which they do those things has. And so what I love about these guys is that they're not thinking about that. They have not lost sight of the what they have to do, but they're being innovative in the how. In fact, you guys were way ahead of the game in video, way ahead of the game in video. And you have a track record of being ahead of the game. And so, but if you're listening to this, don't lose sight of the fundamental business practices that make you a salesperson or a marketer, but be open to adjusting and being nimble in the how you execute, because that's what's changing, but the what has not. You still have to do those basic fundamental things.
Well, I mean, look at that, Renee. We, like you said, we've been doing radio, blogs, I mean, thousands and thousands of YouTube videos, yet a little over a week ago, we were in your class at Amplify learning how to do it better, because we knew we needed to take it to the next level so we can tell our story better. And your class was amazing, by the way. If you guys ever want to learn how to really present yourself in front of the media or speak in front of people or know how to frame, put your message out there and tie it in so it has a purpose, Renee's your man. It was a challenging course, but well worth it and amazing. And thank you for that, by the way, Renee. You're a good guy and help us with our destination. So thank you.
I appreciate that.
Hey,
I appreciate that.
hey, Don, I'm curious because you've done thousands of presentations. You've been an elite, top performing 1% mortgage professional. You're an elite, top performing manager and leader. What did you learn? You know, what did you want to learn when you went to Amplify, and what did you actually improve? I'm just curious.
Actually, what was really good is we went in kind of open-minded. Probably was a little harder for Gino and I due to the fact that we're used to being in front of the camera and presenting and been on stages. We actually had to unlearn a lot of what we thought we knew and learn how to properly relay a message, because it's really easy to ramble. And a lot of people don't want to listen to ramble. There's enough of that out there. Ramble, 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 ramble. I did that for Renee. So he's taught us not to ramble, and shorten and be more concise and deliver the message that's important to whoever's listening to you, whether it's via video or podcast or radio or even on the phone. So we learned a lot about shrinking it down. I mean, Gino would give him a lot of kudos because he has no problem talking and we're best friends. So we can say this, he'll ramble forever. And it's funny when he started, perfect example is when he was done, he told this whole story and Renee asked, he goes, anybody understand what he's talking about? And everybody's like, no, not really. He goes, that's because you put 9 stories together. So we learned a little bit more about being relevant in here's our message and here's what we want you to get out of this message. A lot of times you just tell something, you hope they pick it up, but by framing it and tying it at the end really made a difference for us. And we appreciate that.
Well, I think if I can add to that, I mean, you know, Gino, both of you guys were consummate professionals and it was an honor to even be able to coach you guys through that, because I mean, the level of success you've had is iconic. And what I loved about it though, and what I want people to hear from that is, in today's world, if we were to say what's changed, is we have to get to the point and we have to stay relevant. We have to stay engaging immediately, right away, because we have that thumb. We can just go next. We can just click past, swipe past, skip ahead. If we're not capturing attention immediately, we become irrelevant. And so in a keynote, you're allowed the space because they're sitting down live and no one's leaving. No one's leaving. There's captured. But if they have the choice of going to the next piece, you have to be concise and you have to constantly earn those next 5 to 10 seconds of time from them as you're talking. And Gino, like I told Gino, once he did that, I said, once you get it, you're going to be dangerous. And then when he came out at the end and delivered that last talk, we were all just eating out of your hands, man. It was just truly magical. But I think that, totally. But to those watching, you know, that's what I think makes Mortgage Coach powerful, is that it combines the presentation with a visual that is immediately relevant and customized to the audience. It's not a blanket, here's what's happening in general. No, this is your situation, which the audience in a very respectful way is selfish with their time, and they should be. What does this mean to me is constantly going through them. Why are you sharing this with me? Of all the things I could be paying attention to, why am I listening to this? Well, we custom made this to you, and here's the frame to that. Here's the story that goes with it. Here's why I'm the one credible talking about it, or that have the qualifications to talk about it. So I think all of those pieces are really powerful.
No, that's important. Great point, Renee, because I know, Dave, thank you for putting the video in Mortgage.
I was just going to do that. You stole that from me.
Because you know me, yeah. It's the best thing ever. I mean, I love the numbers when you get, here's basically an LE with a bunch of numbers they don't understand. Then I go and share 4-page, 4-color, complete customized breakdown. But even better is when I can send a video, because all they know is me by the phone or by email. Most cases, email these days. And I can send an email, with their customization with a video that pops out automatically and says, hey, Don Goettling here. Glad to finally meet you, at least virtually. And I'm so excited to help you. You're working with Mike and Tammy, the best agent. You have the best team supporting you. And we made a customized breakdown of all your options. We want you to know everything that's important to you. And that's why we broke this down. You can ask any questions regarding this, and don't get overwhelmed by all this great information. Left-hand corner is this, right-hand corner is this, bottom's this, bottom this. And we're going to go through it in detail, and you can ask questions. And then we're going to make sure you're all prepared to purchase the home of your dreams. Boom. Now you compare that to somebody sending an email with rates. There's no way. I had people come in when they used to be able to come in the office. They come in and hug me because they know me through the videos. My capture ratio increased, what did we say, 50% easy, Gino, and the capture rate, because once we started sending videos out, and you could tell the story where we lost the mortgage coach for a day.
We did. I was actually thinking of something else though, what I wanted to point out is not everyone wants to be that video star. So there's other tools. Like for me, one of the ones that was great, because I was always on the phone with people, is I love the fact that I could change things on the fly. And they said, well, what if? And I would go in and I would change it and I would highlight it. To me, that was one of the best functions. Yeah, video was fantastic. But at the same time, once you were in that consultation and you were in the moment, I loved being able to make live changes and showing them what was happening. So what Don was alluding to was one day, we had just changed over. We switched companies. And one of the faux pas of transition, and for those of you that have been through transition, you know it's never easy and things happen. Well, one of them was we lost access to Mortgage Coach. And I had to send out a quote that day. And I'm like, Don, what do I do? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't have Mortgage Coach. What do I do? Type an email? Like, this is horrible. It's a $1.4 million loan. And I'm going to type an email with a
hold on.
APR
let me
or
call
something?
Dave. Dave, you got to get us in. What if my competition has Mortgage Coach? We're host.
Yeah. We really felt that way. So make sure that, you know the power of the tool that you use. And sometimes absence makes the heart grow fonder. And that's what happened to us on that one day. We didn't have it. It was very painful for us.
Right.
Guys, this has been, I think we've really come across something that I want to drill down more on. First of all, audience, Renee went through and he talked about how people, they'll scroll past what you're doing. The other risk we have in today's market is we're on the screen, we're talking to someone and they're picking up another device. So keeping people's attention and delivering your message concisely and in a compelling way has never been more important. So we've identified a few things that you can do to be relevant. Add a video to it. Makes you relevant, makes you personal. Gino said, hey, you don't want to add video? And even if you do add a video, make it interactive. And at Mortgage Coach, we do make that easy. Renee, I don't know if you're still, you're not on the camera. I hope you're hearing this, but I want to drill down on how can we not ramble? Because I think we all do it. And I would love to know, what is the difference? When does it become rambling? Like, I've been doing a lot of masterminds lately, and I know for sure when you have like a group like this, if one person talks 70% of the time, that's rambling. And I know that if you usually in your format like this and you talk for more than 5 minutes, that's rambling. But where does it become rambling? What is the time frame? What are some of the things that we can all self-regulate so we don't just be ramblers?
Most of the people on
Renee.
Clubhouse are most of the people on Clubhouse are ramblers. So I think it's the Rambler app, which I think is good. It'll start to regulate. But I think the question in terms of rambling is when people lose sight of where they're going in their message. There's a concept called telos, which is the direction. We talk about ethos, pathos, logos, kairos, but telos is the direction of where I'm going. And if you are in touch with the question or the relevant topic that's happening, and you have the self-awareness to say, I should keep this concise, especially if it's not my platform, then you know how to get from point A to point B. But if you're just going to take a walk in the park and you don't know which part of the park you're going to, you're going to stroll around the park. But if you go, I'm going to that tree, then you make a beeline for that tree and you get from there to the tree and you stop. It's the same in messaging. And so the key when you actually start to ramble is there's just a real simple phrase you can use, and Don and Gino make fun of me for this because we play a little game. If you're rambling and you find yourself rambling, most people will try to unramble by thinking and slowing down their talk to try to find. What we tell people is just put a stop in the record. Just say, you know what? Hey, hold on. Here's why I share this with you. And if you're rambling and you just put a stop in the record, you sort of body language shift into this here's why I share this with you. And it is funny because we do want this sort of physical motion to say there's a stop in this, and here's why. People will never know you rambled, number one, and they know that the value of everything you just said is about to be summed up in this phrase. And so that's what we say is, if you are rambling, one, you have to have self-awareness. If you don't have self-awareness, you will ramble and you'll just like to hear yourself talk. And then what will happen over time is you won't be invited back, period. And so that's the way that the universe, I think, or the world and the market sort of weeds people out. But if you do find yourself rambling, don't worry. Just say, you know what, hold on. Here's why I'm sharing this with you. And then you go into the point. And if you don't know how to answer, here's why I'm sharing this with you, you've got other problems. And so, but most of us can get to a point like that.
Love that. What do you recommend are good sound bites for a good leadership conversation with a loan officer that is talking with a family or an agent? You know, what should be the time frames that we talk versus they talk?
You know, I don't know what the exact time frames are, but I know this: no one's ever been upset if value is being delivered. I've never seen someone go, you know what, this is extremely valuable, will you hurry up? And so I have been told many times that, you know, hey, you got a couple minutes, and then at a minute, 2 minutes, I'm stopping. They go, no, please continue. And or somebody that is in the middle of saying something valuable, they stop and they go, I want to be respectful of your time. You're like, no, keep going. And so if you're in touch with what's valuable to them, you'll buy yourself more time. But I think, you know, again, the self-awareness, understand the context, understand who the host is, and understand their objective as to why you're there. And the host may be the real estate agent inviting you to talk to one of their clients. It's not your client yet. A good way to never get a lead again is an agent to open a door to you and you take over and not pass the ball back to the agent or not edify the agent in the process. They're going to say, like, why would I invite this person back? But if you're there to answer questions and say, you know what, you're with an amazing agent here. From what I understand, your question is this, and here's how the process works. And, you know, what else can I answer for you? And, you know, and you might even ask, you know, might I go into our process and how that works? The agent's going to say, yeah, absolutely. Well, this is why I love working with such and such agent, because we're a 1-2 team, everything that we do on our end, and you're constantly involving them. But if you're in touch with what's valuable to how the client identifies value, not how we do, how the client identifies value, then you're answering questions for them along the way, and they feel value delivery the entire time. So as long as value is there, to me, it should be value all the time. And I will say this, one more piece, a good thing to remember, to remember, and these are all my Clubhouse notifications, I got to just turn that thing off, is that we are the average of what we say, not the sum total. That's a critical point, because a lot of people think the more I'm talking, the better. Well, if you have one really good point, let's say a level 10 point, and you follow by a level 5 point, that brings your average to 7.5. So if you hit that level 10, you have 2 5s, that brings it even further down. So that average is important. So make sure that you're very picky about the points that you want to make.
So hey guys, I got to put a plug in. We are, Mortgage Coach is going to the Rambler app, Clubhouse. We've got a small group that is going to be facilitating a daily huddle on Mortgage Coach at 7:30 on weekdays and 3 o'clock. So it's funny that you said that, Renee, though, because we had a little best practice Zoom the other day, and we were talking about, hey, what is the way for mortgage professionals to use it, and what is the value to doing it? And part of the conversation was, one, let's limit the whole thing to an hour so it doesn't turn into this long, extended, aimless diatribe that's changed vision and purpose. And we're going to be having a call on what are the best practices to be a moderator. And I have a feeling we need to also have a session on what are some best practices to participating and how not to be a rambler. So stay tuned on that, my brother. And anyone who's listening to this, follow our Facebook group. We've already put a notification in. Catherine Peterson, who's a leader in the Mortgage Coach community, who's very active on Clubhouse and getting a lot of value and giving a lot of value in Clubhouse. She's helping me do it. We've got Shayla Gifford on the crew. She'll be part of the Mortgage Coach crew. We've got Tony Blodgett. So we've got Todd Bookspan. We got Scott Nicholson. We got Keith Collins. So we've got some elite mortgage coach leaders that are going to be part of that daily huddle on the Rambler app, and we're going to try not to have it be the
Now, don't get me
Rambler app.
wrong. I think the app is great. I was making fun of how people are going to have to get used to how to do that. I think it's great.
It's got potential. Well, we'll see where it goes. So Todd, any questions you have or anything you want to tie down as a coach?
Well, I'm just laughing about it because I was texting with Darren Hardy about it yesterday, and he said the number of ways humans invent to distract themselves from doing real work is incredible. I don't get it. Seems like an abysmal waste of time. The last thing I want to do is chit chat.
Excellent.
So
I
Darren
thought
Hardy
I
too.
thought that was pretty funny. So I think the key really is what Renee just said, is you just have to be on point. I think that's the real challenge. And at least when we do Zoom now, we can see facial expressions. People can raise their hand. People can, kind of show that they want to jump in and say something, where when you're just talking, it's harder. So I always like that reminder. And it definitely reminds me I need to get back to amplify, because, just these little things like the hey, here's why I want to share this with you, are the little points that I learned when I went through that with you, Renee, that I'm not using day to day right now, and I realize would make me a whole lot more effective in what I'm doing.
Awesome.
Hey Todd, would you do me a favor and in chat post what Darren shared, because I think that is such a good reminder to all of us.
Is.
And it doesn't, and in my opinion, it doesn't mean don't use social media. It doesn't mean don't use that, but be intentional and be
Yes.
disciplined and be thoughtful. And remember, there's a line where you're talking and you're leading, and then you cross a line into ramble, and you're rambling. And the same thing with social media. There is a time when you are influencing, when you're building an audience, when you're leading, and it's business, and you're making money from it. And then there's a line where it's busyness, and it's distraction, and it's waste, and it's taking you away from your goals. And so it's just important that we're thoughtful about that. And I think staying in the business zone and out of the busyness zone, and staying in the influence zone and out of the rambling zone, it's like the theme of today's call. Like, that's how you stay relevant. That's how you stay valuable, is you stay in business zone. So anyways, I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna put that up because it's something I need to remind myself hourly.
Well, Dave, you mentioned that staying relevant and stuff. That's something that Gino and I, really can, formally stress, is the importance of always, we always reach out to give back and make sure we're helping as many people as we can, whether it's our team members or it's our clients or it's our community. And when you do that, you get so much more back. I mean, you help so many people, but you learn so much. You find out more about your team. You get more satisfaction helping your team, because that's our strength. Actually, it's not how many sales we get; it's helping our team members all become better at their jobs, be more fulfilled, and therefore they're more successful and don't leave. I mean, we've literally had maybe 2 people leave our team in 10 years, and then that says a lot for us in this industry. And then we just reach out, whether it's through TV or radio or whatever, or the event we're putting on, is we're always trying to give back. And we learn so much for like this event, Dave. I mean, you're one of the awesome speakers at Momentum Builder. Renee Rodriguez is an awesome speaker, because you guys have relevance that others need. And then we have 18 other amazing speakers. And the best thing I've gotten out of this thing, putting together Momentum Builder with Gino, is now we have these amazing professionals that are giving us incredible advice and direction. And it's been an amazing thing just getting to know these people. So those who do get involved in this event, I can guarantee you every single speaker, including Dave and Renee and Todd Duncan and Barry, and a lot of them you do know, some of them you don't know. And that's why you really need to get involved in this, because these guys are all rock stars and they're pouring their guts out for you. So what I'm getting at is, the reason I say this is it's important to always engage in learning more. Find out what others are doing. Find out new messages. Find out how to reinvent yourself on a regular basis. Find out how to differentiate yourself from everyone else. And these type of speakers that we brought in that we normally would not have been able to get, but COVID kind of helped, because a lot of them lost their, their events that they're going to. I mean, we have rock star people like Hal Elrod, how I got him involved, getting Jesse Itzler. He's a billionaire. We got him on the panel, Todd Duncan and Busier and Heck, Barry, you know, all these guys, Seth O'Brien, all these guys are going to teach you something special. And we're really proud to bring this event to you guys March 22nd through the 26th. It's going to be amazing. And $149 with day special discount that I'll post here. It's going to be amazing, and I'm really excited about it. And I'm stoked to have Renee and Dave part of it.
Yeah. So
one of the things
go ahead, Dave.
Oh, okay. One of the things I love about this event, guys, is you do on every day of the event. First of all, every day of the event is worth the price of admission. So you're getting, you know, 5 times the value. But you've got like mortgage legend, next gen leader, and a billionaire outside the mortgage business. So every day you've got people in the business, rock star leader in the business, you've got rock star realtor, and you've got people in and out of the business. Of course, you know, Wednesday is my favorite day because I'm speaking, I'm opening up. I've got my brother,
Trevor?
Renee Rodriguez, and well, I was gonna say Trevor, and then Trevor, you've got a guy, you got a guy who is, when it comes to training your brain and performing your best when it matters most, the #1 authority in America. I mean, you know, his book is extraordinary. And so it really is an awesome event. Gino, you were going to say something?
Yeah, when it relates to these events, these are the events that have formed us. So when we talk about staying relevant, it's learning something. So there's 20 speakers. There is no way that you can implement everything they're going to talk about. But if you pick 1 or 2 things and you truly implement them and you have the discipline in your life to implement them and make them part of your daily habits, that's where life change happens. You know, you grazed on Darren Hardy, but the compound effect was one of the most profound things that affected me, because I realized, gosh, it's not the things I do once that are greatness. It's the things I do all the time. It's the things that I do regularly, you know? So I think just be at the event and pick a few things that you know you can implement, that touch you, that can help you wherever you're at, and you'll succeed.
Hey, Don, I did want to give you a heads up. When you're sharing things in Zoom, you're only sharing them with the panelists. So if you could just click that little box and share it with the attendees for anything you want to share. And I do want to remind the audience, guys, this is a mastermind. So if you have a question for us, or you have something that you want to comment or shout out, please do that. You know, there was a question in our community that came up a couple days ago, and I want to make sure we cover it today, because I think there's probably a lot of loan officers that have this question. So let me pull it up real quick.
I'm pretty sure, Dave, it was the one that relates to locking. Is that the one you're talking about?
Would you mind phrasing the question? And then I would love to hear how you guys would answer that question.
Yeah,
and
so
I'll show it on my screen in a minute here, guys.
Yeah, so I think the rough question was, how do you deal with the conversation about locking in a changing market like we just had the last couple of weeks? And, you know, you've sent out a TCA maybe 5-10 days ago.
Shot, by the way.
Oh, there you go.
Here it is. Yeah.
Yep, there you go. So basically, rates have changed. So they were inaction. The inaction caused them to lose something. And so how do you deal with that? Well, there's a number of ways to deal with that, and just concessioning your way back to it is not the right strategy, because now you're just rewarding people for bad behavior. So the reality is you have to reflect internally and say, why didn't I have them take action? But what Don and I did for years and years and years was we wanted to make sure that everybody was educated about how the market works up front. And we told them we were going to lock for them when it was the best time. So we took that power away from the consumer completely and said, we will call you after we've locked for you and let you know that you got what you were looking for. So, because you don't have time to call 12 people and ask them if they want to lock when the market moves. So we just pre-sold them that we were the experts and that we would lock them up front. That was.
Well, then you take a snapshot of the rate watch showing why you did it. And then they're like, yay, thank you. But educating them up front when they don't understand that you understand why rates move and what makes them move, and that you're going to be watching for them, also helps with the competitor. The competitor may be quoting a rate that's a week old. we're actually in the know, watching rates on a regular basis, make sure you get the best possible rate we can get you. And utilizing the Mortgage Coach Edge tools and Rate Watch and all that helps you. It alleviates that stress of why didn't you lock, or what did I lose in the rates? But worst case, also say it did get missed because they didn't want to lock. Then you show them that, hey, good news. Yes, the market moved. These are the same rates we had in June. You know, some of the best rates in history. Here's the historical rates. You have one of the best rates still in history, and that could have moved yesterday or today. Yeah. So be happy that you're still getting one of the best rates ever.
Yeah, in the last 49 years. Not so bad, huh? And one last thing on the scripting piece there. They said, well, how do you know when to lock? I said, when the risk outweighs the benefit. Period. That's it. It's that simple. When the risk outweighs the benefit, I lock my pipeline.
Mm-hmm. And we help our team with that, because
the big thing right now.
Go ahead.
I was to say the big thing right now is the market's just so volatile, and so many loan officers keep hoping for something better to do to make their client happier with them. And in the end, I think you guys hit the nail on the head. Just be honest with them where the market's at. Tell them it's great, and then lock while you have the chance. And then obviously use your tool that you have here through Mortgage Coach Rate Watch as your display tool to show them how that works. Maybe Dave, you can give a quick tutorial on how people can share that from their cell phone. It's super easy to text that over to their client.
Yeah, so a couple of things. First of all, I think if I asked a lot of top producing leaders and originators the question of how they'd handle it, I'd get a lot of different answers. But I'd also, there would be people that they'd have different answers, but they'd be having great results. And then I do think there's some people that the way they're doing it is not a best practice. So a couple interviews.
Hey, Dave, I think you're muted.
Yeah, thank you.
I think it was actually a
glitch or something.
He doesn't show muted, so I think it might be internet.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
You're back.
Yeah. So how much did I talk without? How much did I ramble without you hearing me?
Most of it.
Yeah. A lot.
Yeah. You were into it though. It looked really powerful.
That's how you know it's live.
Dave, I think can I say something on here is I watched a lot of people, and I said this before during when rates were super low, and they still are, glorifying interest rates. And they don't post on social media for a while, but then they talk about, hey, interest rates are an all-time low. And if they haven't heard from you ever, and the only thing they hear is interest rates are an all-time low, your client, your audience is identifying that as your value proposition. And you've identified your value proposition as something that you cannot control. And I told them, I said, those of you glorifying interest rates right now are going to be the same ones coming back to me asking me, how do I overcome the rate question? And I said, well, first of all, stop glorifying it, because the top producers that I saw, they don't really post about it. They'll mention it as a bullet point in one of the many reasons why you should, but there are so many other reasons. And so when rate comes up, it's because it's coming up in the absence of any other calculation of value to the client. And I love what Don and Gino were saying, is you guys took away that piece, because if they're going to trust you as the expert, trust us when the best time is. And for them to actually trust, they have to literally trust you. I mean, literally trust you. And it's I think that's one of the biggest pieces. Just be cautious of, during the time of glorifying that, and make sure you have other things that are there too.
No, that's a valid point. I love that, Renee, because by educating them, it takes away that, like you said, all about rate. We just educate them. We can show them how rates move on a daily basis. If you're chasing the best rate, you don't know what that may be. So it's really about the right program, asking the right questions, building the bond, building the trust, educating them. They won't go anywhere. And then also the way you build your business and become successful. And I know Todd can talk on this, and Dave is a producer, Gino is really building that trust with all of your clientele so they come back and refer you, because being transaction based year over year, you're going to be on that hamster wheel forever. But if you build a long-term following of clients that trust you, that's where you become successful. We don't have to chase business. In fact, Gino and I can hardly handle the business coming in because people trust us. They come back to us. A lot of you are sending out stuff. We don't. They come back and say, what do you guys think? Is it a good time to refinance? And then we ask the questions. We don't just say, yeah, rates are this. We're like, well, what are you trying to accomplish? Do you have bills? You improve your home? Do you have MI? You know, how long are you going to stay in your home? We ask all the questions and give them a Margin Coach Edge breakdown, give them that. That's how you build real trust, and that's how you build a following, and you get to work with warm leads, not cold leads. It's a wonderful thing.
Well, so if I could, Don, the reality is what Mortgage Coach does for us is it gives us a tool to custom tailor the right solution for each client, because there is no one size fits all. And I usually use that to sell against the banks. I said, hey, did you walk into a bank and ask for a 30-year fix? And they said, here you go. I said, well, that's embarrassing. You could have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars by taking on that strategy. Without answering a bunch of questions about your time horizon and your retirement and how your investments are doing, and if your kids have to go to college and all these other things, then you're not an advisor. You're just supplying a product. And so I like to ask all those questions and then use Mortgage Coach to make sure that the advice that I'm giving is accurate. And once I look at it and I figure out what the best product is, then I can put it out to the consumer. But before that, otherwise you're just giving them a suit off the shelf.
Well, it's definitely a good reminder to, the number one video in the community last year was the What's Your Rate video. And so those of you who are still struggling with that, I would definitely go watch that. And even if you watched it, maybe rewatch it, because, there's no doubt that if you're not doing what these guys are doing and asking questions and you're just throwing out rate, you're not giving the best advice. And that's, certainly what we want this community to be doing.
Also, guys, sorry about the tech issue earlier. I had to shut down Zoom. Amber Kovark in Scriptapalooza last year did a script on how to lock in a rate. I will try to get Amber on Zoom to revisit how she's locking in rates in today's market. So stay tuned for that. But re-listening to that Amber Kovark Scriptapalooza is pure gold. I would highly recommend that. Again, Amber Kovark, how to lock in an interest rate, and we will put a link in show notes below. If you're watching the recording this on YouTube, there'll be a link to it. And if you're watching this in Facebook, we'll get a link to it. So we're in the final 13 minutes. Don and Gino, I want you each to answer this question in 1 minute or less. But we've got your link to your event that you're doing. But I want to know, why are you doing this event? I want to know what's not on the website. And so, Don, why don't we go first with you? What's your why? Why are you doing this Momentum Builder event?
That's a good question. Okay. In 1 minute or less, basically, Gino and I are really good about meeting up with all of our referral partners and friends and doing business planning each year to make sure we're on the same track. We help them get ready for the next year, make sure we're on the same page. And one of the things we found was everybody gets really, really excited at the end of the year and beginning of the year because they set new goals. They're going to break barriers. They're going to change habits. And then, Dave, what happens around March? Usually nothing. Nothing has changed. They're off their goals. You haven't changed, and for two reasons. And I'm going to give a lot of you, if they're your real estate clients and out, one reason is they probably didn't change any of their habits. Nothing changed. Two, January and February suck. Sorry, that's not our best, in most cases, not our best months. Our earnings season is April through September in most cases. 80% or so of your money is made during that time. So our goal was with Momentum Builder, and why we called it Momentum Builder, was to help get our real estate agents ready for their earnings season, because they still haven't lost the year. The year is not over. They may think that I'm off my goals, I'm just going to give up for another year. But really, now's the time to focus, get your mindset right, get the tools, the inspiration, motivation to kick butt the rest of the year and make it your best year ever. So we started this 3 years ago locally in Los Angeles, and all the agents I went to was, this is the best thing I've ever gone to, and I'm excited about the upcoming year. So now we're bringing it nationally and virtually so that we can reach out to more and more people. And fortunately for us now, we've been able to align with amazing professionals and speakers. So it's a win-win for us as well.
I love that. Well, you went over a minute, but you did not ramble. That was
Thank you.
pure value. And guys, there was just a takeaway in that, like labeling April through September is the earnings season. And it really is, especially for a real estate agent. And for all you mortgage professionals, 2021 is a pivot to purchase year. And the earnings season is April to September. So that's a value right there. Gino, minute or less, how would you answer?
So a couple things. I think it's a two-part question. One of them is why? Why is because this is how we get better. This is how we've improved. We are students of the game. This is 100%, like I shared earlier, what helped me introduce discipline in my life was going to events like this and finding someone that I could attach to and say, I can do that. Like, I can't remember who said it. It didn't matter, but they said, if you want something done, calendar it. By when? So when you learn to add these little tiny pieces to your life, I mean, this has been life-changing for me going to these events. So if we could do the same thing for others, and selfishly with this event for ourselves, because being a part of it and putting it together and talking to all the great speakers that we have involved, we've been learning along the path. That's truly, for me, why we're doing it, is to help others succeed where we have, to put them in touch with the right speaker, someone that touches their heart, someone that gives them the right message at the right time, and selfishly, so that we can continue to improve at our craft.
I love it. I think you did keep it to a minute. And my takeaway, guys, you've got two badass loan officers, one a former pro racer, or maybe two. Gino, I didn't realize you were a racer too.
Didn't quite make it pro.
4 wheels.
Didn't quite make it.
Four
Yeah,
wheels.
didn't ride for Honda. So two badass dudes, and this is their event. Like, this is the event. They've been to all the top events. They're like, we want to do our event. Like, we have a vision, and it was for yourself. And now you're inviting the general public. Well, hey man, I'm honored to be on that stage, and you have put to, your first event like this. You guys have crushed it with who you've got, and Mortgage Coach Community. I highly recommend it. There's a link down below. Sign up for it. I know there's some type of a Mortgage Coach discount. We'll make sure that you guys get that Mortgage Coach discount link. We're in the last 8 minutes, and it's not every Friday that we get Mr. Rene Rodriguez on the call. Rene, anything that you want to call out, tie down, any questions you have, any way you want to help wrap this thing up?
All right. Thanks for inviting me, obviously. And I'm not in, it's kind of fun doing something out of the studio, so I don't have all of the fun stuff, but we were supposed to be in Dallas today. And literally yesterday, we asked the 10 participants if they would switch to Florida, and 7 did, which is kind of cool. So we are here in Florida. I would say that I'm excited for the momentum builder. I mean, we had such a good time putting some of it together and just recording and just seeing the thought and the meticulous attention to detail that you guys have put into this made me really happy. I mean, it reminds me of back in the day when the first big events were putting together. Just every single detail was thought out, and I was so impressed with what you guys are doing, and so it's an honor to be a part of it, and I just can't wait. And Dave, as always, you're a treasure to this industry, a treasure of my life. So thanks for having me on. Anytime I can be on, I'm always here, happy to help.
Yeah, no, it's good to have you. And remember, folks, if you do not have Amplify Virtual and Amplify Live on your bucket list, you should. If you make a living with the way you communicate, with the way that you influence, if you show up on stages, whether they're in person or virtual, it is a must attend training event. I've been through it multiple times, and I'm a big fan. So Todd, we're in the last 5-ish minutes. Anything you want to make sure we cover before we go into just full on wrap up mode?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this call is about how to stay relevant. So I think you need to do a quick audit of yourself and what are you doing to stay relevant. And I would encourage you, I mean, there's a $100 discount code there in the chat for you to get tickets for the event. I think, Dave, you nailed it when you said that, you basically get every day, you almost get a whole new event. There's no doubt that, as Gino said, you're going to come away and learn at least a couple of nuggets here and there that you can, introduce into your, your day and your life. I think that's just huge. And, of course, I guess the last thing I would say is always, since Gino said, hey, he didn't know who said it, the by when thing, right? Certainly I would say be getting signed up and doing this audit by the end of the day today. Like, let's make this an action plan. You guys can do it. I know it. Let's make this community strong, and let's support our brothers who are putting on such a great event.
Appreciate that, Todd. And a big point, just so you know, anybody that registers, we're going to have the speaker presentations available during and afterwards, because a lot of you may look at it and go, I can't break away to see 20 different speakers, but I want to see their message. We're going to have it in basically a vault for you to revisit. And then you also get tied into the More Momentum campaign. That's right, More Momentum. It's not a one-time shot. We're going to keep dripping on you the information, all these great messages from Dave and Renee and Trevor Moab and so forth, to keep you moving forward, not just a one-time shot, excited, run out and, you know, go back to your old habits. Our goal is to really help change your life, and we're going to have fun doing it. We get to host it in American Dream TV, like $500,000 studio. It's going to be a blast. That's the last thing I can leave you with, is what helps Gino and I become so successful and enjoy what we're doing after all these decades is we freaking have fun. We love what we do. We have fun. We're goofballs, and we're not afraid to take risks and take it to the next level. And we hope you do the same. And we're excited about momentum building. Thanks again, Dave and Todd.
Yeah. Hey, you know, that brought up another question. I mean, we still got 5 minutes, but you guys really have blown up on what you're doing on social media, how you're using media to lead and tell your story. And you've blown up with the American Dream. What's your American Dream? Why? You know, why are you going double down with American Dream?
Yeah, I think with American Dream, it was kind of a different medium, a different venue. As we've progressed through this, with radio, you reach people through their ears, and you're reaching people that are in their cars. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't listen to the radio anymore. Everything for me is pull media. It's what do I want to go get? And radio didn't serve that medium anymore. And the daily video blog wasn't serving that medium anymore. So how do we get our message out? And by the way, our American Dream Show is a lifestyle show, has nothing to do with mortgage. It is just showing people how Don and Gino live in Los Angeles. And we just want to show
we eat.
and how we eat in Los Angeles.
The food adventures is one of the best parts of it.
So talk about staying relevant. Do a show that has absolutely nothing to do with mortgage, and still people will get to know you because it creates notoriety, or it creates branding. But it's not that. Don. It creates credibility. That's the word. Because they feel like they know you. And then, so like Don said earlier, people will give you a hug. Oh yeah, they know you. And we're, you just try to be genuine, be on the show, and we mess things up. Don always drops his food. Yeah, Don always drops his food, and that's okay. I'm like, how come you drop your food every time? He's like, I don't mean to.
No, I make everybody else feel more comfortable.
So go ahead.
Just be real, I guess, is the end, really what I want to get down to. So whether it's radio, Instagram, whatever medium you're using to communicate, just be yourself. And that's how you gain trust.
Don, what's your why? Why are you doubling down and putting more into American Dream?
Like Gino pretty much nailed it on the head, but basically it's allowing us to get in front of more people and have fun doing what we're doing and relaying our message, because we're getting more people to know us. It's building our brand, whether it's Finance America, whether it's DG Media, whether it's our events, whatever it is, we're getting in front of more and more people. But you really need, media, it differentiates us. Bottom line is, like, when we bring a real estate agent and they want to, go to a listing presentation, who else has a TV show that gets 123,000 views versus putting a sign in the front yard? It's stuff like that that just differentiates us, and it helps us get better at our craft. Because believe me, our first couple of shows, American Dream TV, not so good. Our tee-ups and tie-offs and all that, but we're getting better every single show.
We're still working on it.
What's that?
We're still working on it.
Every day. Yeah, we were just filming 2 days ago, and one of them took 15 takes, and we're usually one take. So and it's fun. It's just changing the ball game and taking risks. And each time we elevate and improve and learn something. And it's been great. And it's opening doors. We just met a real estate investor that we're going to tie in with, that goes and buys homes in Beverly Hills that families have owned for 80 years or 60 years, and he buys them, fixes them up, puts some money in it, and sells them for double. That alone is worth it. It's been amazing.
So guys, here's my formula. Let's do this whole call. How are they staying relevant? How are they creating value? They're having fun. They're being themselves. They're giving great advice. They're always upgrading their communication skills so that they are not ramblers. And guys, they're building audience. You know, they're looking for ways on how can we expand our audience. American Dream is expanding the audience. They're throwing an event that's expanding the audience. They're just looking like, how do we grow our database? How do we grow our influence? And then how do we be super effective? So hopefully you got value from this hour. If you liked today's call, give us a like down below, whether you're watching this on YouTube, Facebook. Guys, really appreciate you. It looks like Todd is having some tech issues, so I'm not going to call him out. Renee, thank you for making time to give back to the mortgage coach community. And anybody who is watching this and you're not active in our Facebook group, get active. And for all you that are asking questions, commenting, being valuable in our Facebook group, really, really appreciate that. Like, it is becoming the beacon of value for new loan officers, for top producers, and it's all because you. So thank you, community. Guys, this call's a wrap. Take care, everybody.
All right,
Thank you,
thanks,
brother.
Dave.
Really
Great seeing you,
appreciate
buddy.
having
Love
us
you,
today.
bro.
Thank you.
Take care.
See ya.